Good morning, Abraham.
Is.
It's nice to get to talk to you in this way. I think I've always been talking to you, even before I had a label of Abraham to put on it. Last year at the Phoenix workshop, you talked about a universal story or sort of like the baseline story that you're supposed to feel good, and part of applying that deepest story is figuring it out where you are so that you gradually tune yourself to where you are living that.
What we were talking about is that, so who you really are is over here in this really good feeling place, the present tense vibrational version of you. But who you're allowing yourself to be in your physical body might be someone who's depressed, or someone who's angry, or someone who's hopeful, or someone who's overwhelmed. In other words, you could be anywhere along the emotional scale.
Right.
We like it when you're hanging around in the vicinity of hope, because then your vortex can take you in every now and again and show you something that makes a believer out of you.
Right.
But if you're hanging around in despair, it's a far vibrational cry from the vortex.
Right.
Yes.
And part of that story is making peace with where you are vibrationally, and then being able to feel better so that you are able to allow yourself to get closer to who you are vibrationally.
We did say that, and we mean that. And let's talk just for a moment before you move to where you're going about how someone could make peace with where they are. So let's say an important relationship that matters enormously to you isn't working out. And in the middle of all of this pain and suffering, you also discover that you have an illness, and you associate the illness with that. Somehow you can feel it's all connected, or it seems like it is. So how do you make peace with the fact that the love of your life is gone, and with the fact that you're sick? What does making peace with it mean? Does it mean, a lot of people worry, if I make peace with that, then the universe will say, oh, she's all right with that, just leave it as it is.
Right, but that's not how it works.
So by making peace with it, what we simply mean is stop the struggle.
Right.
Now, but before we can talk about stopping the struggle, we have to talk about what is the reason for the struggle. And we're just newly talking about that even here today. The reason that anyone suffers in sickness is because who they really are as well. In other words, we're just going to throw out some really strong statements here to sort of lay a basis of where we're going to go together. If life hadn't caused you to be this, then being this wouldn't feel uncomfortable. So if the larger part of you had not already received this good feeling side of this wave, this bad feeling side of this wave would not feel so bad. Can you hear that? Everything is relational. Everything is relational. So how can I, standing here without my lover and in a body that's sick, how do I go about making peace with that? By understanding that what making peace really means is stop the tug of war, stop the battle. Make peace with the fact that this contrast has created something, and that this discord is as much about what has been created as it is about where I'm standing that I don't want to be. Ooh, first time that we've said that. We'll say it again to make sure that you get it. This is really important. The sickness that I feel, or the negative emotion that I feel in any moment that I'm potentially wanting to try to make peace with, that sickness, that sadness, that emotion, that discomfort, that pain is as much about the good stuff that has been created as it is about the bad stuff that I'm living. In fact, it's equally about it. Don't you like thinking about it in that way? In other words, if I weren't really well, this sickness wouldn't hurt so much. If I weren't really prosperous, this not enough money wouldn't feel so uncomfortable. If I weren't really source energy, this hatred wouldn't be such a problem to me. In other words, I've expanded, and that's the way we would make peace with it. In other words, the reason that this feels bad is because a lot of good stuff has taken place that I'm not yet a vibrational match to. I've been beating the drum, I've been practicing the vibration over here. This is more familiar territory to me. And the reason, but I'm going to make peace with this. I'm going to make peace with this more familiar territory. In fact, I'm going to do my best to bless it, because I have enough knowledge to understand. And by the time you leave here today, we want that knowledge to be yours. We want you to have such knowledge about this vortex that it makes whatever happened that created it worthwhile. Bless you, rotten lover, who sucked me in and then tossed me aside. Bless you, because you helped me to create a version of love bigger and better than ever existed. And my longing that I feel right now is not for you, it's for that love. You hear it?
And I get that.
That's good, because it just happened. That was the most leading edge material that has ever been delivered. We're glad that you get that.
And in that past year, I know that I've been doing a good job. I mean, my vibration, my set point has changed for the better quite a good bit. And
a set point meaning the average place that you hang around.
Exactly. My set point has where I was at the hearing of those words that you said last year, and where I am now, very, very different place right now. And I know I've been doing a good job. I've been able to relax more and feel the thrill of being in the vortex occasionally, not as much as I'd like to be. And I've felt just the ecstasy of well-being and alignment, and I want more. And that's...
So what you're saying is, I've enjoyed the relief that I found by moving my set point,
right,
but I want to enjoy more relief of moving my set point until I'm chronically on the verge of and inside the vortex.
Right. And that is what I'm saying. What I guess the experience that I've been having is, it seems like there's something stuck in my vibrational
Well, here's
cloth.
what it is. You're going to hear this easily, because once you've done the work, and you have, to move yourself consistently up this emotional scale so that you're hanging around between overwhelmment and frustration and hope. In other words, is that where you identify your set point to be?
Absolutely.
And so as you're hanging around with the low point, usually, you can dip lower, but you usually don't.
Right.
Frustration, overwhelmment, and hopeful, and as you say, often ecstasy or occasional ecstasy. So you have a good thing going there with where you are hanging around. So now, just relax and forget everything we've ever taught you in this sense. In other words, just hold these thoughts for the next few minutes and the next few days and the next few weeks. I'm not going to try to get in the vortex, because I naturally end up in there pretty frequently. I've moved myself into the vicinity, so law of attraction's doing the hard work and bringing me in. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
A lot of you do, don't you? Don't you have more and more moments of high? So now I'm going to do all of my deliberate work from inside the vortex. In other words, I'm not going to try to get in anymore. I'm just going to pay attention to when I am in there, and then I'm going to milk it. I'm going to do 100% of my affirming from inside the vortex. If you can hear that, we're giving that expressly to you. And here's why. We've been teasing as we take some of the affirmation cards. This deck is about money and the law of attraction. And we've been standing in the pose of someone outside the vortex, maybe someone really discouraged, who wants to do this work they paid a lot of money. They came to an Abraham seminar. They want to do the work. They want to figure it out. So they buy a deck of these cards and they read, I am the attractor of my every experience. Yeah. I can see the world through the eyes of Source, right? I can deliberately choose to feel better now. Oh, get this. I can pivot from feeling bad to feeling good. Sure I can. I want to harmonize with my desire. I can give my positive attention to positive aspects. Who writes this stuff? And the reason that we are making such a strong point here is because if you're not in the vicinity of the vortex, these cards are annoying. Further, they are counterproductive because the more you read them, the madder you get. The more defensive you feel. In other words, whose world are they talking about anyway? Because you will defend where you are. There's a tendency because the larger part of you feels the rightness of your being, you see.